Oh, hey, sorry. Let's talk. Let's talk about why maybe you don't need to run 1200-meter repeat intervals. Now, you're going to come at me in the comments because that's usually what happens on the internet when you're a guy on the internet, especially if you're a coach on the internet. strideandshine.com. We do one-on-one coaching. We're going to talk all about it, but we should say why most people don't need 1200-meter repeats. But I have to frame this for you. I have to frame it. My name is Andrew. I'm a midlife runner. That's the name of the channel. I started running at the age of 40. That was 5 years ago. I'm 45. Been running marathons, became a certified coach last year. I coach runners one-on-one. We just talked about this. And I attract. What I give, what I attract is other midlife runners. And they also want to get faster, qualify for Boston, run a sub 3, similar type of goals. And they think, hey, show me the way. And I say, okay, well, let's see. Where are you at? What are you doing? And they say, I just finished a marathon. I've got another marathon that I want to run, but first I want to run a fast 5K, because they think that there's something magical about the 5K and they understand the general principle of periodization, which is if you become a faster runner, you're going to run a faster marathon. My man, Jason Fitzgerald, Coach Jason Fitzgerald says, strength running. You don't see many 4-minute milers running 5-hour marathons. The faster you're going to cross 100 meters, 200 meters, and 400 meters, and 800 meters, and 5K, all the way down the line. It's just a fraction of your top end speed. The faster you are, the faster your potential marathon time. So what they're saying, my runners are saying when they say, I got to do this 5K is, I know that I need to become a faster runner. How do I do that? Well, you don't have to. This type of runner that I'm talking about, you don't have to do 1200-meter repeats in order to become faster runner. And JD, my man JD, Jack Daniels, like one of his principles of training is that you're trying to do the least amount of effort to get the desired result, right? The maximum result. There's no need to blaze 115% of VO2 max in a VO2 max workout when you can go 95 to 100% of VO2 max to get the stimulus, right? So you don't need to overdo it. So there are many ways to get faster, especially with the guys that I'm working with that are finding running later in life. A lot of levers to pull: mileage, hill sprints, maybe some speed work with full rest. We don't have to go nail the 5K. Now I will say, because people will still come at me because I am a guy on the internet and say, well, I'm training for a 5K. I started shorter with the 200s and the 400s and I got longer with it, and eventually I'm doing this 5 by a K with 2 minutes rest. Absolutely, king. Absolutely. Or queen. You're racing a 5K and you're doing race specific work. There comes a time where you're probably going to be doing K repeats or 1200 meters. That makes sense. And if you don't care about the marathon, like the 5K is your thing, you're like, I am going to qualify for the National Masters Championship. I need to run a 16:30. You're 5K guy through and through. Definitely run 1200-meter repeats. Okay, I'm not coming at you. Okay, what I'm saying is that when we see 1200 meters on paper, right, and it looks like that, I just wrote it down, so just to let you know, and I'm looking at it. If I looked at it and you looked at it, we would see the same thing. But if we both did that out at the track, unless we have the same fitness, that means entirely two different things. Clayton Young can do that. What it means to him is 3 minutes and 6 seconds. I saw a video. I saw that shit because he's got a YouTube channel. He ran 1200 meters, 3 minutes and 6 seconds in training. I coach a guy named Dave. He's around 4:30. That was his goal. His first marathon, he was aiming for a 4:30, ran a 4:20. Ring the bell, my man Dave. It might take him 6 minutes to run a 1200 meter. Okay, so double the time. So it may be better to prescribe VO2 work as a coach. Something I like to do because I have a wide array of talent is by time. So 2 minutes at VO2, 1 minute off, 3 minutes at VO2, and you can mess with the time and the rest time or whatever, because if you don't know, quick little tribute to my man JD again, right? You can read this in his book. I don't have it around right now. I've got a million books around me and none of them are Jack Daniels. Anyway, VO2 work, it takes 2 minutes to get up to your VO2 max, and then anything after that is money in the bank. So For example, if you run for 3 minutes at VO2, you've got a minute. You could do like 1-to-1 rest, hence the ISO 800s, but you could do 2 minutes rest. You could do less rest and you're gonna get more stimulus. So if you're doing 400s and it takes you a minute and a half to go through, you can rest for 45 seconds or a minute and run again and elevate yourself right back up there. Anyway, this isn't about VO2 max, okay? This is more about you're not having to, as a beginning runner or running for a few years, or it not being the ideal distance that you are trying to run, a 5K, that there's a lot of impact forces on the ground. And the reason I decided to make this video is because I had a guy on deck that I was talking to who wanted to work with me, and we were going back and forth. And he's like, I'm in peak weeks and I'm doing this training. I just want to finish it out. I'm doing a Fitzinger plan. Then he went out and he pounded some 1200s and he got himself injured. And that was devastating because he didn't need to do those for where he was at. And I'm not hitting on Fitz, I'm not hitting on JD. Those guys were Olympians. They worked with a lot of Olympians. And the guys that they were working with probably ran 1K in 3 minutes in training, but that's not the point. Like, because you can get advanced marathoning, the book by Fitzinger, and you don't have to be an elite or sub-elite runner to follow one of those plans. It's just that when you're new and you don't really know, and if you're like a fellow midlifer, you're like, okay, 1200 meter repeats, I'm gonna do what I have to do what this thing says. This is the only way that I can get faster. I can't miss a day. I gotta do these things. And it's just a lot of impact forces. All right, now it occurred to me that I'm pretty much just talking out the window instead of right here most of the video, but like, what could you do instead? Well, you could get on strideandshine.com, but I'll spoiler alert, I'll give you the goods here. You can run shorter duration and shorter rest. So if you ran for a minute on, but you only took 30 seconds rest, if you do 3-minute reps, so you're getting a minute of VO2 work, but you only have 2 minutes of rest, you're going to be getting more stimulus, assuming you can hit those velocities, right? Now, that's if you're gonna be doing VO2. What you can also do, and you can experiment to see if you even need to do it, say you finish the marathon, is you can do plyometrics. You can do hill sprints that are like 10 seconds, 20 seconds. Bursting up a hill, I like to do 20 seconds around 95% or 10 seconds, 98%. Did I steal that from Matt Fox? Yes. Did Matt Fox steal the hill work from someone else? Absolutely. Nobody invented the hills, guys. I'm not saying that any of this stuff is mine, okay? What I'm saying is that the hill bursts really kind of help with running economy, opening up the stride, getting the runner going faster and hitting some of that top end neuromuscular connections. And over time, doing it for, say, a couple of months, along with some other work. Say you do some speed work and you're going faster than 5K pace. Say you're doing mile reps, but for 200 meters, for 300 meters, or 400 meters. And there's enough rest in between that you can recover and focus on your form, and you're just hauling ass and getting faster. It's not about not being able to breathe. There are times also what's really good to say, hey, here's 2 months where you're not gonna breathe a whole lot. And at the end of it, you're gonna be a lot faster. So there's a place for everything. And usually we reverse engineer this in periodization towards your race specific goal. Again, you could watch Steve Magness, you read a book, read Steve Magness's books, you can read lots of books. Jack Daniels, all this information is kind of known. I'm not here to say that I invented it, but I'm talking to a very specific audience, which is my audience. Because if you swirled all the way down the toilet of YouTube, down to this channel, to the guy who makes jokes and reads Pokemon books and tells you about running, this advice is for you, because you might be a midlifer. If you're just getting into running and it's in your first few years and you're seeing these whopper VO2 long reps really hard, 4x4. Don't do 4x4 deep into marathon training. I don't know what kind of plan you're following. And I have seen this from runners, because I'll say, oh, what kind of plan you're following? And they say, well, I'm my coach. So I just kind of like pick my favorite workouts of stuff that I kind of want to try. And that makes sense, because that's what I did. I had a coach twice. Well, technically I had a coach 3 times. I had 2 actual physical coaches outside of myself at various times in my 5 years of running. And then all the other times I was my own coach. And it's like the greatest hits, the potpourri. I see some, what's this? oh, 10K, but 1K on this, 1K off that. Whose workout is that? Oh, look at this. I saw a Philly Bowden video and she's doing this workout. I'm gonna steal that one. That one looks really fun. The Michigan, sweet. If it was called the Ohio, we wouldn't do it. But the Michigan, I'm here for it. But does it apply to what I'm doing? Am I progressing with progressive overload? I don't know. I'm just picking stuff. So I am the type of guy to pick 1200s and be like, yeah, I think I need to ramp up my VO2 right before my marathon to give myself a boost. And then I show up with dead legs and I don't know. Anyway, again, this is not for everybody. Appreciate you watching, guys. Thanks.